This episode of Mudprints Unboxes was made possible by Limited Run Games. What's better than unboxing a limited edition? Unboxing 2. Today on Mudprints Unboxes, we take a look at the Dariusburst CS Limited edition from both Japan and North America. Get ready for a double dose of nifty content. Originally released in North America as a download-only title for PlayStation 4, PlayStation Vita, and Steam in late 2015, Dariusburst Chronicle Saviors, or Dariusburst CS for short, first saw physical release on the PlayStation Vita in Japan on January 14, 2016. The PlayStation 4 version took much longer to materialize as a physical game, seeing release in Japan on March 20, 2017. Like the Vita version, both a standard and limited edition of the game were made available, complementing the Vita version and arguably well worth the double dip in doing so. The Dariusburst CS Limited Edition comes in a striking box with stylish art that is actually much lighter than it looks. It's definitely not the same quality as the Battle Garegga Revision 2016 Premium Edition we looked at last time. This particular box was also never poly-wrapped, adding to the feeling that it was of quite a lesser quality than Battle Garegga's box. After opening the box from left to right, the game disc and second arranged soundtrack are immediately visible. The internal structure of the box admittedly didn't do a fantastic job of holding everything together, despite no damage to the box on the whole. Despite this though, it's still mostly functional otherwise. The game itself bears a Zero A rating that indicates that it was produced for the Japanese market. Not surprisingly, the information on the back of the main box is also mostly on the back of the game case as well, and entirely in Japanese. Both the game case and the soundtrack are sealed, unlike the box itself. The soundtrack also has a little less substance when it comes to the packaging. Interestingly enough, only a single fold insert bearing the arranged soundtrack's art on the outside and liner notes on the inside, as well as a flip disc in a standard jewel case, make up the packaging for the included album. The number one main draw to the Japanese version of the Dariusburst CS Limited Edition comes in the form of 3 models representing the Player 2, Player 3, and Player 4 Legend Silverhawk Burst ships. These surprisingly sizable models are made of a much flimsier material than the similar shooting game Historica series, which will make receiving the shooting game Historica Volume 4 set all the more interesting as it contains the Red Player 1 Legend Silverhawk Burst. Each of these 3 models comes in 6 pieces, including its base, and ended up being pretty easy to put together on the whole, but while the wings took a bit of effort, the nose was a little weak-fitting. All in all, they look pretty amazing, and work well alongside our other shooting game Historica sets. The Limited Run Games Dariusburst CS Limited Edition was released on April 28, 2017. It too sports a big box, a game disc, and a soundtrack arranged to CD, but with some subtle differences. The katakana from the Japanese title logo has been nixed from this version, a tiny change that could easily go unnoticed to the untrained eye. Obviously, the Japanese from the original release has all been translated over to English on the back of the box, and faithfully at that. On the back of the box, the Dejika logo is visible, and there is a small holographic sticker showing the production number of the game, in this case, number 513. While the packaging is identical in quality, this tiny sticker somehow lends more legitimacy to the package as a whole, more so than the Japanese version did. With a production run of only 2,000 units, it's kinda neat to get such an early one so late in the game. Like all of Limited Run Games releases, there is no rating on the cover despite being released from the United States. Unfortunately, as is the norm, there is no instruction manual or extras in the case itself. However, just like all other Limited Run Games releases, they included a checklist emblazoned with the Dariusburst CS cover art as well as a Limited Run Game sticker in Dariusburst CS's colors. There was even a ticket to redeem for other goods in there. Just like the Japanese release, the arranged soundtrack features a number of Dariusburst tracks arranged by prominent composers, including one of my all-time favorites, Motoi Sakuraba. Neat. And of course, further inside, we find the Legend Silverhawk Burst models in Player 1 Red and Player 2 Blue. These are, once again, exactly the same as the Japanese release in terms of material, size, and build Okay, so it turns out these guys are a bit on the fragile side after all. They definitely aren't made as well as the shooting game Historical line, and you can definitely feel it. Thankfully, a little crazy glue is all it took to repair it. At about $100 plus shipping, the price might sound a little high, but Dariusburst CS wasn't cheap even when it was just a download, no matter the platform. But it's got over 3,000 stages to it, so it was definitely worth the cash at the time. Now, we've been covering Dariusburst CS since 2015 on the PlayStation 4, Steam, and Vita through 15 different pieces of DLC, and to get a more permanent copy of the game, plus the arranged tracks on a CD, plus some super cool shmup models, completely worth it for shooting players, doubly so for Darius fans. The overall quality might not be on the level of Battle Garega Revision 2016 PE, but it's definitely still better than other Western big box collector's editions we've seen on PS4. The Japanese version is still available on sites like PlayAsia.com, but unfortunately limited run game stock vanished within seconds on the first go and minutes the second time round. However, the kind of quality we're seeing here sets an excellent precedent for other collector's editions that LRG will undoubtedly produce in the future.